We are Steven and Jill. Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. Steven Jill here.
Howdy.
Welcome to the Land Academy Show, entertaining land investment talk. I'm Steven Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWit, broadcasting from sunny Southern California.
Today, Jill and I talk about why test mailers don't work.
Do you want to describe a test mailer first, or do you want to?
Yeah, sure, a test mailer. You know, before we get into all of this, though, will you please tell me the story?
Oh.
Jill's telling me a story about a deal we're doing.
Uh-huh.
And the seller is...
Oh, yeah. I came running downstairs.
I said, save it for the show, show.
Yeah, because the seller, it's one of those run-to-the-bank deals, but I had a talk with this guy, and his background is amazing. I'm like, I want to get to know this guy. This happens sometimes. You almost like make friends with them. I remember one time I had this guy that was bugging me in Orange County to come over, and my wife will make you dinner.
So earlier,
it was so cute.
Earlier in the week, we had shows about building relationships with buyers and sellers. That's what this is.
Exactly. So this guy, his name is Ed, and he raced, I don't know how we got on this topic, but it happens. He raced motorcycles for 40 years. It was really cool. And when he was telling me the story about when he stopped racing, he was 60 years old, still racing, if you can believe that. He was, of course, it was his grandson's birthday, and grandson wanted to race motorcycles with grandpa. So, and then grandma got on the phone too and confirmed this whole thing. And she's just so chill. So it was funny because I got
on the phone with you?
Oh, yeah, we were all talking on the phone.
Oh, this is hilarious.
It's the cutest thing. So anyway, grandpa tells the story that he was racing with grandson and he had an accident. He missed a jump somehow and tweaked his shoulder, but good. And grandma's like, oh, that's just what happens. The reason I brought it up because so we were talking, he's telling me this whole story, and then grandma gets on the phone because grandma's the one who's doing the deal with me, but grandpa had some information. Anyway, grandma gets back on the phone. I said, you know what? I kind of understand because this one, Steven, I said, my sweetheart used to race super bikes back in the day. And we were talking, I said, and thank goodness, when kids came along, he kind of decided, not the thing. She's like, oh yeah, mine didn't do that. No, I lived that life. And she's like, yeah. And she told me, yeah, he didn't tell you he was doing it with his grandson because his grandpa wanted to do that with grandpa on his birthday. And that's the day that grandpa had the big crash. But everybody's okay.
The big crash.
And grandpa's fine. But grandpa took how many months of recovery and surgery for his shoulder.
Geez, surgery.
Uh-huh. I'm like, oh, man. And grandma's totally chill about it. It's kind of like, yeah, that's just what happens. That's my life. Like,
well, that was, for every big surgery, there's a lot of falling off.
Yeah. I can't even imagine. So what kind of life she led. And it was so funny because I'm on the phone with him. I'm like looking him up. I'm like, wow, there he is. Like in motorcycle world.
Is he a BMX?
He's no motorcycle.
Super bikes?
Not super bikes. I want to say off-road stuff.
Yeah, BMX.
Yeah, okay, is that what that is? Not like bicycle. So.
Right, yeah. That's what I meant.
I thought BMX was bicycles.
I think it is. You're right.
Okay,
we're all super bikes.
Okay, yeah. But anyway, it was really, really... Maybe motocross?
Yeah, motocross.
That's it. Because they were talking about a cross-country race. Him and a guy won. I found this article, and as I'm talking, I'm like, this guy's legit. This is really cool. Anyway.
So tell us about the deal.
It's great. I just think about the deal. Oh,
I looked it up. I know about the deal. Want me to tell you?
Yeah.
It's in a It's about 30 miles from a suburb of most attractive city, one of the 2 or 3 top attractive cities in the country. It's 2.35 acres with structures all around it. It's got former foundation. So we're going to buy it for, I think, $3,400 or $2,400, one of those, and it's probably worth $25 wholesale. More. Wholesale.
Yeah.
Probably more.
Yeah. It's just a cool deal.
And it's, if you don't have an idiot seller like yesterday. Yeah. And it's just a bang, bang, bang. Probably buy it in 2 weeks. The whole thing will be done.
I forgot to, it doesn't matter.
No,
you're all good. No, it's all good.
Before we get into it, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the landinvestors.com online community. It's free.
Nate wrote, I own a parcel out in X County.
You can say it.
California. Okay, Kern County, California, and currently have a terms customer. My terms client was out of the parcel this week and noticed a large X-shaped mark probably spanning 5 feet by 5 feet. It's bolted to the ground with metal nails to keep it in place and marked panel 6. What the heck is this? Is this like a target for somebody to like drop from the air on, like practicing skydiving?
I'll explain it.
Okay. This is land that I own, and I haven't been made aware of this by anyone, nor has anyone asked permission to do this. Wonder if anyone in this group has come across this before. Any thoughts on 1, what is this? And 2, how to resolve it? Thanks in advance.
There's a lot of people that piped in on land investors.
That's so funny.
And so here's the answer. It's your freaking property. You're going to do what you want with it. This is America, number 1.
That's the best description. I love it. Yeah.
The X shape is one of 2 things. It's a large aerial survey marker, but this one seems a little bit more permanent. Usually they would just spray paint something or whatever. This is probably somebody's kind of, if you want to waste a half hour of your life, go on Google Earth and go down to Kern County and San Bernardino County, California, and just look around, and there's some funny stuff. I don't know if it's left over from movie shots.
Like go on Google Earth?
Yeah, Google Earth. Is that what I said?
I don't know.
Oh, you were just thinking about something else.
I was.
Welcome to the Land Academy show, Jill.
I'm listening.
No matter what, just take it off of there. But I would,
funny.
take pictures of it and stuff. It's pretty. It's unique and makes the property unique. If you were going to sell it, not on terms, just for cash, I would leave it there and shoot it and laugh about it.
It's hilarious.
Which brings me to the bigger
comes
point.
With a skydiving.
Yeah,
comes with
or it could be
skydiving marker.
Jill,
Here
it could
you
be
go.
that.
You
It
want to
could
jump
be
out of a
that.
plane and land on your own property? The marker's there. You can find
Totally
it.
be that. It's panel 6.
Exactly.
If you miss panel 5, look for panel 6.
Yeah. That one's yours. Yeah, make it a positive. Isn't that cool?
The bigger picture, the big picture here is the takeaway from this is that when there's stuff left on your property, it is, no matter how bad it looks, 9 times out of 10, it's better.
Yeah.
It makes your property unique versus the person next to you who's got nothing on theirs.
Well, I was kind of bummed the other day when I found out that I had a property that I thought had a gate on it with a fence, and it was locked.
And a cattle guard and
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm like, this is cool. I'm like, so I told the people, if you got some bolt cutters, it's mine. Cut the lock. Well, they were at the wrong property. I found out the one mine doesn't have it, but even something like a fence, people go, oh no,
Yeah.
it's bad. It's a fence. I'm like,
No, it's great.
No, this is great. Somebody took the time to build a fence.
Yeah.
There's something worth having a fence for.
Exactly.
And there's a road for the fence. This is all good information.
It's a very popular thing right now that I hear.
What's that?
Stuff's on my land.
I think it's great.
Or there's a locked gate. I mean,
Great.
you bought the
There's
property.
something worth having a gate.
So
Somebody
I
cares.
just wonder, like, when there's legal access and physical access, because we don't buy property otherwise, I don't know why that becomes but it's very, very common. I mean, 9 times out of 10, people are like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So I don't,
Nothing.
but I don't,
When you buy it, you cut the lock.
it's one of the things
Put
that
your
just
own
like,
lock on it.
usually you can figure stuff out. I can't figure it out. Anyway, today's topic, why test mailers don't work. This is the meat of the show.
Can you please explain test mailers?
A test mailer is this, and we have a bunch of new people because it's the new year, and I'm watching in Discord and Land Investors, people testing. I'm going to use the word with air quotes, testing test mailers. Nowhere in the program do I advocate this, and nowhere have I ever seen anyone in the advanced group say, let's just check it out. Here's why. A test mailer is when you say, I've identified this market as a place that I want to send mail. It passes the tests. I've gone through the education, and I'm ready to do this. I'm going to send out 150 mailers and just see what happens. I'm going to play one hand of blackjack and see what happens. I'm going to throw my fishing line into the water one time, and if I don't catch a fish, I'm leaving.
Excellent.
So that's just not how this works. You need to get in there. If you've identified a fishing hole and you talk to a bunch of people and they're like, oh yeah, we pulled out 25 fish over there in 2 hours yesterday. Here's the coordinates, go over and give it a shot. And that's good information. You've done what you're supposed to do, and you're going to go, versus just driving out in the middle of the ocean and dropping a line in. Test mailers don't work. And because this is a numbers game, and if you send out 10,000 mailers, and I'm not saying do this, please don't. Send out 10,000 mailers without any research at all, and you put $5,000 on every single one of them, you're going to buy a property. I don't care, unless it's like Manhattan, New York, or some crazy high-end thing. You're probably going to buy a property.
Now in Manhattan, you probably will.
Yeah. I'm not saying do that. I'm really not. I'm saying do your homework, do some stuff. Don't send out 300 or 400 mailers. It's just, all it's going to do is discourage you. You're really, the odds are no longer in your favor of getting anything at all, and it's going to make you mad, and it's going to fail. And so you've done all this work to identify a market, and instead of sending out 1,500 or 2,000 mailers, which is what you should do, you send out 200 just to see.
Right.
I had a football coach, I haven't said this in years on the show. He was famous for saying, if you're going to make a mistake, make it at 100 miles an hour. So don't just go, oh, wait, I'm going to see what's going to happen. Don't do that.
You got to be in it.
Yeah.
You got to be in it. Like I was thinking in myself, our test mailers are like 3,000. That might be, it's not really a test. It's not a test. There is no test. Just send it out. What's the minimum? I would love to share for everyone here per zip or county.
If you've done all the work, just like the program says,
you want to do a multi zip or multi-county mailer. How much is the minimum you want for each one?
I'm
gonna say 1,500.
Here's a perfect scenario. I love multi-county or multi-zip code mailers because the stuff comes back, and if you get 3 or 5 purchased properties out of it, and they're in different zip codes or different counties, that's really good for sales because you don't have a lot of property in one area. But at this point in our career, I wouldn't send out a 600 unit mailer in one zip code or county. I just wouldn't do it.
Right.
1,500.
Well, and I want to talk, because I talk about this a lot. This comes up in a lot of the things, like I'm faced on the live stuff and everything. People ask this question. One of the reasons why is to, if you're doing it all, especially when you're brand new, it's so much easier and you have such a better chance of success if you send 1,500 units to one area, one parcel size, one whatever. You're comparing apples to apples. When these calls come back, all you're dealing with, the county, they're all roughly 5 acres, whatever it is that you have identified for your mailer. It's so much easier when you're sitting there lining up the deals and picking the best ones. Oh, this access is better than this access. And you're not jumping around like, okay, how much?
Especially if you're new.
Yeah, when you're new, like, oh yeah, over here, they're priced differently than over here. That's just a little nightmare. I don't want you to do that. I want you to get comfortable with how the transactions go, and B, I want you making some money. Then when you get going, you can start rolling in some other areas and branching out a little bit.
So I guess my question is, and I really want to know the answer, because usually I can figure out why people do stuff really, but like I said earlier, what's the point to testing a mailer? I'm asking you, really. Like, what do you think goes on in someone's head?
I think people are uncomfortable with their selection. They may be not confident with the area that they chose, so they think they're going to send out for 5 and hope that one of the 5 is a good one, and one of the 5 is going to be, and they're going to get the right offers back, and that's going to be okay. Instead of maybe spending a little more time picking up ahead of time.
Yeah.
And doing it like that.
Truly, all kidding aside,
there's no money savings.
Just what Jill described, don't do that.
Right.
Later in your career, after you've worked the state and you know the difference between the counties and you know everybody, you really know, you can pretty much say what's going to happen when the mailer goes out and comes back.
Right.
That's when you start getting creative. So here's another thing. Like, nowhere do we teach this. So if you wanted to be a welder, I'm just not one of these people. I'm asking you. If I wanted to be a welder, I would take a class, figure out what it is, what the certification levels are, go to the class or take it online or however it works right now. Exactly. Follow the instructions of of how to become a welder and how to be certified and how to get an A too.
Right.
How to pass it with flying colors. And then the minute that I was done, I'd go back out into the junkyard and just test my stuff. Right. I would, if I wanted to get creative, I wouldn't do it during the time where I'm learning.
Do you sound like this is like a 17-year-old with a new driver's license and a new car. I did what I need to do to pass the test. Now I'm gonna go practice burning the back tires off of this.
God, that sounds fun.
Yeah. I know how to drive. I know what to do. Now I'm gonna go have some fun. Jeez. Yeah.
That's why their insurance is $1,200 a month.
So funny. This is good.
Until you've got 10 deals under your belt, just do what the program does.
Well, here's my point. I want to say, if you're new and you're thinking of these test mailers, I would rather you spend a little more time. If you're in Land Academy, you know what I'm talking about with picking a county and the red, yellow, green. I want you to spend a little more time. Maybe spend an extra day, an extra weekend. Who cares? Double checking your red, yellow, green stuff to make sure you feel good. And then I want you to go at it with confidence. And then no matter what, you know that if you came in too high on your offer price, you know how to solve that problem. We talk about it a lot. And if you came in too low, that's even easier, by the way, on these offers. You know how to solve those too, and you're going to get some deals.
And how do Jill, how do you know you came in too high or too low?
Well, if you came in too high, every single person loves you. They call you back with a smile, and you are overwhelmed with signed offer agreements because they all said, wow, this person actually wants to spend this much on my property.
And too low?
And too low is you got a whole lot of hate. And that's okay. I'll tell you real quick. So what do? A whole lot of hate, big deal. Find out if they want to sell. And then because every time you add money to it, they think they win, and it's a good situation. Oh, I'm sorry. I offered $500 and it's really worth $1,500. Holy cow, I'm so sorry. Whatever it is, you know it's worth even more. It's worth $4,500, so you're okay paying $1,500. That's the point here.
And so here's what happens when you send out a 300 to 600 unit test mailer. Nothing.
Yeah.
No one calls you back. There's no hate. You might get 2 calls and they hang up. You haven't sent out enough to get any feedback to make the appropriate adjustment.
Correct.
You have to fail at 100 miles an hour. Send out 1,500 to 2,000, maybe 3,000 units or whatever. You're going to get all kinds of feedback. You're going to buy some property.
Yeah.
But just testing it,
you'll know.
I have to tell you, I'm going to say it, truth time, and it's not going to be a popular thing, but I'm going to say it. I question the personality, this test mailer personality, and how successful they're going to be at this.
They're not confident. You need to have confidence.
Yeah, you need to have some. You need to say, whatever it is, bring it.
Figure it out.
Bring it. Mm-hmm. I will find a deal out of these 1,500 to 2,000 mailers, whether it's too high or too low. Or you're not gonna. If you think if you send out 300 to 500 units just to test that market to see if it's good, that's absolute incorrect logic.
Right.
What you're doing is pulling the slot machine thing once. You didn't win. You're walking out.
Right. You don't really know. That's perfect. Happy you could join us today. 5 days a week, you can find us right here on the Land Academy Show.
Tomorrow, the episode on the Land Academy Show is called Providing Information Instead of Directly Selling. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
This has been a fun week. We have a lot to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Because we've just had some kooky situations and deals that have just given us a lot of content. That's awesome. Need to send out a few thousand offers to property owners like us? Check out offerstowners.com. No setup fees, free mail merge, and exceptional service. We should know because it's our company. Give Offers to Owners a call today.
We are Steven Jill. Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.